All right, Libra, here we go. This is going to be all about you. It's going to be Libra, Ascendant, Libra rising, talking about where the full moon happens in your chart. But we're also going to talk about Mars conjunct Saturn. I'm going to give you dates and degrees. Understand that Mars is our physical body. Mars can also represent a soldier. Keep that in mind. We also have Saturn, which is all about restrictions. Saturn is about, I like to keep things organized and contained. Therefore, I have rules, and I demand that you follow my rules. All right. We also are going to be looking at the planet Venus, and that she's going to be setting up some beautiful, sweet, beneficial trines very soon. And this is good. This will be about the beginning of the month of April, which I'm excited about. So we have lots of things to discuss. Some of them good, some of them may not feel so good, a lot of frustration and maybe even anger and feelings of maybe isolation and maybe even some feelings of depression. And the full moon itself will come along and it'll feel like a heightened sense of emotions. And so we want to know where that's going to happen in our life. Who are the folks that are going to be in, what bucket of my life is that going to be involved in? And if you have something that's going to be squaring or if something supportive is going to be there. So let me go ahead and we'll just dive deep into the all astrology. We have Mars conjunct Saturn. And this is we're already feeling it. Today's like the 28th of March, right? We've got these last 3-4 days of March. I think we have 31 days this month. When we get to the 31st of the month, we have Mars and Saturn holding hands. They're together. They're both at 0 degrees Aquarius energy. Now, we're already seeing this because Mars at 28 is already only 2 degrees away from Saturn. And normally a 2-degree orb is plenty. You can already feel it. And a great example of this energy, think about, they're in a sign Aquarius. So Aquarian energy is groups of people, right? It's how you gather collectively. So you can be doing that online, right? That would be the internet, right? It's also any place where you congregate with other folks. So a great example is that here in Chicago, when this whole thing went down, the whole pandemic, COVID-19 stuff occurred, they said, okay, social distancing rules in place. No one's going to work, right? Only essential workers can go to their job. Everybody else has to shut down. Well, up until yesterday, all the parks were open. Like you could go to the park and go jogging or bike riding or walking. People were going to the lakefront or whatever because they wanted to get out of the house. And that's what we were being told. It's a healthy thing to get out of the house and have a good time. And we kind of had to move things around here because we have multiple people working from home now. The example I wanted to explain was being told now that a place where you would normally gather in groups, at first we saw it like in stadiums, right? Places where large groups of people were gathering. They put a shutdown on that. But then recently, the park districts, they said, we're closing the park districts. People aren't following the rules. You know, you have to be 6 feet away from somebody, right? If you're going to the park, they figured people would just be jogging on their own, I guess. I don't know what they thought, but everybody felt like, if I have nowhere to go, I can't go to the bars, right? So, hey, we can go to the park district. Well, here comes Saturn and says, hey, here's new rules. You can no longer do this. So this is that tightening up that we feel. Now, Mars doesn't stay with Saturn very long because Mars, thank God, moves fast. Saturn and Mars are considered the not so beneficial planets in the zodiac. They call them malefic because typically we feel their presence, right? Typically, Mars, first of all, is very, oh, thank you. Mars is very assertive. And Mars being assertive can also be aggressive and impulsive. Mars doesn't want to be told what it can or can't do. Mars is your physical body. So Saturn coming along is like, it's the general. It's the guy in charge and says, no, stand down. You can't fight right now. And Mars is like, but I want to fight. I've got to do something, right? So we have this frustration that builds. And if you understand this ahead of time, if you understand the astrology and the cycle, the time frame, right? The window of time in which Mars and Saturn are together, it will help you to understand, you know what, maybe during these next 5 days, I will literally take a chill pill and understand I can't get much done, all right? And I will literally just say, you know what, I'm taking the next 5 days, I'm going to be vegging out. I'm not going to be doing jack. Because once we get to April 3rd, that's when Mars pulls away. You have the space between Saturn and Mars getting larger. It's at a 2-degree orb at that point. And by the 4th, Venus moves into air, into Gemini. And what happens is Venus then sends a beneficial stream of energy to the other air sign, which is Aquarius. So this is a trine. This is super supportive. Venus adds ease. Venus usually comes bearing gifts. Now, we all know about the stimulus package, and so everyone's expecting a payment of some sort, I would imagine, or people going online and, you know, applying for unemployment. But this is support, and Venus will be in the sign Gemini for a very long time. And it also actually goes out of bounds, which means Venus gives more than she would normally give. Venus is super supportive at this time, and she also goes into a retrograde. So we're seeing not all big companies, but we're seeing some companies do some really beautiful stuff, and they're stepping up and they're giving to their employees, or they're giving to their community. I've seen lots of posts on Facebook where you're seeing, family, mom and pop restaurants feeding the community, having certain hours of the day where it's, you pull up to the curb and we're doing curb deliveries, and it's free. Basically, they have inventory they have to get rid of, but still, they're giving it away, and they're doing the cooking, they're doing the prepping, and it's a beautiful gesture of giving, which is Venus. Venus is definitely food, by the way. Venus likes good things, things that smell good, that taste good, that feel good. Venus is all about high quality stuff. So those are the benefits that are coming, which is wonderful because we all are receiving this. This is by transit. So for you, Libra ascendant, Libra rising, to understand this better, the Aquarian energy, your Saturn and your restrictions, this is in your 5th house. Your 5th house is children, right? It's your creativity. You might feel a little bit stifled. Your fun, how you used to have fun. With Mars conjunct Saturn right now, it's feeling way more serious. It's not so fun. It's like, what the hell, man? Where'd all my fun time go? Or my fun space? Which would make a lot of sense if we're all working in the home now, right? We used to go to the house for refuge and have a good time there. Well, now we're working in the home. So now, if we used to have fun there, well, that's gone. But remember, Mars is going to move, and it's going to loosen that up a little bit. So it won't be so restrictive. Mars will feel like it has a little bit of wiggle room because not only does it pull away from Saturn, it is also going to receive Venus's benefit. So that 5th house energy of yours is where Saturn's going to be for the next 2.5 years of your life. Libra ascendant, Libra risings. If you're not sure, comment your stuff down below and I can figure that out for you specifically. Anytime you hear a degree, if you have a question, don't be shy. Go ahead and comment. Speaking of don't being shy, I want to hear from folks. What are you doing? And this is just as much of a benefit for other people who watch the channel, who read comments, which everybody does. Let us know what you're doing to stay sane, because especially if you're a Libra ascendant, Libra rising, because other Libra ascendant, Libra risings would specifically benefit from anything that's helping you. They would also likely benefit. So please let us know. Comment below what it is you're doing to give yourself some joy, or how it is you're pampering yourself, because, well, Libra's ruler is Venus. And Venus is how I cherish myself. How do I love myself? And so at this time, hearing these kinds of things will help others get through these sort of times that we're facing. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is the full moon. The full moon is on the 7/8th of April. And at this time, as any full moon, it's a heightened energy, okay? Our emotions are heightened. And understanding where your Libran energy is will help this. Now, Libra energy is in your 1st house, okay? This could be on your ascendant. I don't know. I would have to see your specific private birth chart, which includes your birth time, so that I could better understand and find out what your ascendant sign degrees are, to be exact, okay? I'm thinking of a Libra right now in my head. Full moon's happening almost exactly on their Venus. They have like a 19-degree Venus. And so this full moon's at 1844, which means something emotional of something that this person loves, and maybe they may see themselves in a new light because it's in their 1st house, all right? But to better understand how this all works in your chart, find your natal Venus. If you find your natal Venus, then you can better understand. It'll give you more details as to how that 1st house is going to feel and look for you, okay? To give you an example, that chart of that person I just mentioned, if they have Venus in their 1st house, it's all about me. It's all about myself. So it's all about having this probably an enlightened appreciation and a new level of worthiness to oneself, because it's in the 1st house. That would be something that I would definitely say to this person if I was talking to them, reading their chart. Having the full moon there, meaning there would be something that occurs in your life, some sort of an event, especially since it's on your Venus, but it's all about love and value of self. That is what this is about, Okay, so whether that means somebody has to stand up for themselves, whether that means there's an event that occurs, because again, in a specific chart, something could challenge it. You know, a challenge would be a square, which would be 90 degrees away. So typically, any of the like energies, Libran energy is a cardinal energy. So when we're looking for squares, that would mean you're looking for something that's either going to be in Capricorn or Cancer at 1844. That is what would square you the full moon at 1844 in Libra. If you don't know, comment your stuff below. G will help you out. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Pluto conjunct Jupiter. This happens 3 times in 2020. Jupiter is typically beneficial, but what we have to remember is Jupiter it automatically adds to things. Jupiter is the great exaggerator. So typically, if you know people who have prominent Sagittarius energy, because that's the ruler of Jupiter, they may boast, and you may be able to catch certain things that they say. Usually they do it in a humorous way, where they really exaggerate and say things that just, they can be very funny. But at the same time, there can be an element of the Neptune stuff, which is a little bit delusional. And so typically if they talk about themselves in particular, they could be a little delusional in some of the stuff they say or that they believe, okay? Now that goes many different ways, and I don't want to dip any further than that because I would honestly have to look at a chart to go and understand deeper. But bottom line is Jupiter adds to things. So if Jupiter is conjunct Pluto, and what does Pluto mean, right? Jupiter and Pluto in Capricorn at 24 degrees. Now there is this mark, this 24 degrees, this is an eclipse point. But not only is it an eclipse point, if we look back at time, if we look back in history, there have been great events that have occurred in our business and in our government when it's Jupiter conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. And when we look back through the history, major things have happened. Our banking systems have changed, business changed, government changed, the way we do business changed. And so at this time, this is what's happening, folks. And it happens in layers, okay? Because they're going to go retrograde and then they're going to come back and, that whole thing. So that means 3 times that we're going to feel this. And it's Pluto. So what happens is it's deep transformation at the root level, going down to the core of our lives globally, right? This is a global thing. This is a transit. Transit means where the planets are up in the sky, which means it affects all of us, okay? It affects each and every one of us. Somewhere we all have this Capricorn energy somewhere playing out in our life. Now for you, Libra Ascendant, Libra Rising, your Capricorn energy is in your 4th house. So there you go again. Your 4th house is your home. So it does feel very restrictive and serious and responsible, I should say, more definitely, because it's work. It's okay, I am working from home now, for real. Like I am doing work from home. And so if you've got Saturn and Mars in your 5th house where you used to have fun, and if you used to have fun at home, and then in addition you're now working at home, oh wow. So this is a time where it feels like, all right, I really have to learn how to carve out time away from work, since work is now at home, how to go and have fun. And if that means you go out by yourself and have a walk, or you go into a room and you just crank up the music, right? Or watch movies, or sing and dance, or go into the kitchen and bake, draw. I'm all about that. Like I'm always saying, what? Stay sane, create. Stay sane, do art. Stay sane, draw. This is a way of tuning out from the physical realm and connecting to energies on the other side, which will help you. It's a form of escape, bottom line. It's a form of escape, but it's a way to keep balanced. When you have the tangible 3D world in your home and you're now doing paid work in your home where it's more responsibilities at home, it could feel daunting. So this means you're going to have to definitely pencil in time for yourself. And this is where, for Libra Ascendant, Libra Risings, having the full moon in your 1st house will make this a reality for you. Something will occur where you realize, okay, I have to make sure that on a regular, I am taking time out for me to do something that I specifically enjoy, something that gives me a lightness, something that makes things seem less serious. Which takes me into this next part of the video, and then I'm going to end this, is that planets moving into the air signs will lighten things up. All right, all of 2020, the theme is this pandemic. This is not going away. All right, we will hit a peak, but we will also at the same time be dealing with people who have more power than we do, right? The government, who will be saying, all right, you can go back. It's time to mingle. It's going to be okay. But pay attention to other countries and how they're handling it. Pay attention to what's going on in those other places, and you'll have a better understanding of the ways that, well, you'll have an understanding of what we're about to face. And it's a simple, if you can have an elevated sense of your awareness to see what it is you can do in your own world to stay safe and follow the rules of Saturn, then you will feel better prepared, all right, and understand that this is for the good for all involved, okay? Now, there's one last thing I wanted to mention, I lied, is your Venus energy. When Venus moves, she's not actually in the Aquarian Aquarian air energy yet. She is actually right now starting to set up a beautiful supportive trine to Jupiter and Pluto. All right, Jupiter and Pluto are at 24.5 to almost 25 degrees. Well, Venus is going to be there come the 29th and the 30th of the month and the 1st of April. What that means is that, let me get the locations for you in your chart, Libra, Ascendant, Libra, Rising. You've got Venus, which is your Taurus energy. This is your 8th house location. Venus will be at 24, 25 degrees in Taurus, your 8th house, and sending beneficial streams to your Pluto and Jupiter in your 4th house. All right, now the 8th house is other folks' money. The 8th house is your spouse's money. The 8th house is also where you are merging energy with another person. It is a house that's deeply bonded. It is also a deeply emotional house where you can receive healing. A lot of people don't talk about that house placement that way, but this location of this house is not your values, but it's your shared values. So you're going to get support. You're going to get some ease. You're going to get some sort of a relief that comes. And this is good news. And we, at this time, need to remember to focus on the good. So Libra, Ascendant, Libra, Rising, you got any questions, you comment below, and I will hook you up. Bye.